Hello everyone, how are things with you guys? How are you doing? So welcome to this live stream. My name is Erika and today we'll be talking about the present simple. So if this is your first time learning the present simple, I hope this is helpful. But I think it can be helpful also as a review. It's always to go back to the present simple because it is a wild card. We can use it in so many different ways in English and even in more complex structures like subjunctive, conditionals, etc. Okay, so do not underestimate the present simple. Review whenever you can. So hello everyone. Let's get started. So the present simple is used to make simple statements of fact, in most cases, okay? Of fact, routines, habits. We can use it to talk about things that happen repeatedly. We can describe things that are always true, things like that. So to make the present simple, this is very easy. Of most verbs, you just use the base form of the verb. So it's the infinitive without to. Okay, that's the base form of the verb. If the subject is I, you, or plural, we and they. And if the subject is he, she, it, you add an S. That's the basic rule, but depending on how the verb ends, you need to make some adaptations there, okay? We'll not talk about that. So basically, you use the base form of the verb when the subject is I, you, we, they in the affirmative, and you add an S to the verb if the subject is he, she, it. So some examples. I eat lunch at noon every day. That's a regular action. I eat lunch at noon every day. And every day is a time expression that helps convey the idea that it's a regular action. It happens repeatedly. Okay, so it reinforces the form of the verb here. And if the subject were she, it will be she eats lunch at noon every day. She eats lunch at noon every day. He, she, or it. Other examples, further examples here. We drink coffee every morning. We drink coffee every morning. So every morning reinforces, emphasizes the repetition. We start work at 9 a.m. We start work at 9 a.m. So if I say this, I want to say that this is a rule. This is a normal thing for me to do. They leave work at 5 p.m. They leave work at 5 p.m. This is a routine too. So in the case of she drinks coffee every morning. So I drink coffee, she drinks coffee. We start work at 9 a.m. He starts work at 11 a.m. He starts work at 11 a.m. They leave work at 5 p.m. Rob leaves work at 7 p.m. He leaves, okay? Right, so let's talk about the S. When the subject is he, she, it, you basically add the S, but there are some different situations here. With some verbs, ES is added for he, she, it, okay? So these include verbs ending in SH, CH, OX, SS, and Z. Okay, so for example, I go to bed. He goes to bed. I finish, SH, I finish work. She finishes work. I watch, CH at the end, I watch TV. He watches TV. He watches TV. I cross the road. I cross the road. She crosses the road. She crosses the road. I fix cars. I fix cars. X. She fixes cars. She fixes cars. Their phones buzz all day. Their phones buzz. Z. All day. His phone buzzes all day. His phone buzzes all day. Other examples, Tom does So do, the verb do ends in O. You need to add es for the he, she, it. So Tom does the dishes every morning. She teaches English to 6 students. He washes, this is the verb wash. He washes the windows on Fridays. He blushes, to blush is to when you feel embarrassed or shy, you blush. He blushes when he is embarrassed. Common mistakes. Common mistakes. When the present simple is used with he, she, it, or one person's name, it always ends in s or s, right? The verb. Okay? So a common mistake is to not add the s, to say he starts work at 8 a.m. He starts work. This is wrong, grammatically wrong. According to the rules of grammar, it is wrong. The correct way to say it is he starts. He starts work at 8 a.m. There is no need to add the auxiliary verb. Forget about the auxiliary verb here in the affirmative when you're forming the present simple affirmative. It is only used to form questions or negatives. Only questions or negatives. Okay, so if you say, I do eat lunch at noon every day. This is not completely wrong because it's possible. Okay, it's possible because if you say, I do eat lunch at noon, you're emphasizing the verb. You're saying, yes, I do. I really eat lunch. But what you would want to say, I guess, is I eat lunch. I eat lunch at noon every day. All right, so let's continue. With the verb to be in the present simple. A review for most of you, I guess. The verb to be has 3 forms in the present: am, is, are. And it's very simple, right? Examples: I am 25 years old. I am 25 years old. You are a chef. You are a chef. He is happy. He is happy. Okay? So how do you form that? It just the conjugation is I am, you are, he, she, it is, we are, you are, they are. You need to remember that. By the way, these pronouns, they're always capitalized. Elas começam com letra maiúscula in the beginning of the sentence, no começo da frase. Okay? If you use these pronouns, if you write these pronouns in the middle of the sentence, they are not capitalized. Esses pronomes não começam com letra maiúscula no meio da frase. O único que começa é o I, eu. Okay? So the pronoun I is always capitalized. É sempre escrito com letra maiúscula. Mas os outros não. Ok? Os outros não. So further examples here. I am a doctor. I am a doctor. They are students. They are students. My grandma is 92 years old. My grandma is 92 years old. We're late to work. So we're is a contraction. It's very common when we're speaking. So we're late for work. He is American. He is American. So he is American. He is American. Ruby's 7 years old. Ruby is 7 years old. Ruby's 7 years old. So the verb to be is a different verb, and another different verb is the verb have, which is different too. In the present simple, right? It is an irregular verb, an irregular verb, and the third person is has. Okay, so you need to remember that I, you, we, and they have, but he, she, it has. So I have a garage. I have a garage. She has a yard. She has a yard. Okay? Examples. I have a car. You have a sister. I have a painful back. I have a painful back. They have the same dress. They have the same dress. They have a new baby. They have a new baby. The cat has a new color. The cat has a new color. He has a cold. He has a cold. Thomas has a driving lesson today. Thomas has a driving lesson today. Jack has a bad headache. Jack has a bad headache. Sarah has coffee with Tom every Tuesday. Sarah has coffee with Tom every Tuesday. Okay, so these are two verbs you should pay attention to when changing the form in the present simple. The verb to be and the verb have. All right, so now let's see the negative form. So here we need the auxiliary verbs, okay? To make negative sentences using be in the present simple, you just need to add not. So in the case of the verb to be, you just need to add not to make a negative sentence. For all the other verbs, you need to add do not. For I, you, we, they, do not. And he, she, it, does not. You need to remember that. It's a lot to remember, which means you need a lot of practice. Hours and hours and hours of practice. What kind of practice? Writing, doing exercises, reading, speaking, everything, okay? So, the verb to be, if I say I am a farmer, what is the negative form of I am a farmer? I am not a farmer. I am not a farmer. Okay, there are contractions, so you can connect the verb to be with the pronoun and sometimes with the verb. The exception is I am not. You cannot connect am not. It's impossible these days. In the past it was possible, not today. So you can only make the contraction of I am, I'm not, okay? But you can make all kinds of contractions with the other pronouns and verbs and forms of the verb. So, for example, let's see here, you are not a doctor can become you're not a doctor or you aren't a doctor, okay? These are the possibilities. So, I am a teacher. The only possibility for contraction here, I'm not a teacher. But he is a farmer. He's not a farmer, or he isn't a farmer. They are American. They're not American. They're not American, or they aren't American. So negatives with other verbs in the present simple. So for verbs other than be, do not or does not goes before the verb to make the negative. Okay, so if I say I work outside, the negative is I do not work outside, or with the contraction, I don't work outside. He works inside. He does not work inside, or he doesn't work inside. Examples: you do not have a computer, or you don't have a computer. He does not live in Los Angeles. He doesn't live in Los Angeles. We don't start work at 8 a.m. We do not start work, or we don't start work at 8 a.m. He does not have a car, or he doesn't have a car. Common mistakes. To keep all the S's. So a very common mistake is to say he does not works outside, because I forgot to tell you that when the subject is he, she, it, when you use does not or doesn't. The verb, the main verb, loses its S. Okay, so we need to drop the S. There is space for only one S here. You cannot say he does not works. That's wrong. That's a big mistake. So he does not work. Okay, he does not work. Questions. Yes, questions. So again, to make questions, we need the auxiliary verbs, do and does. Because when we have the verb to be, it is very, very easy to make a question with the verb to be. You just start the sentence, the question, with the verb to be, right? So, you are Canadian. What is the question form here? Are you Canadian? And then you change the intonation too, right? You need to change the position of the verb to be, bring it to the beginning of the question, and change your intonation too. Are you Canadian? So it's the same thing. Conjugation is the same. Am I? Are you? Is he? Is she? Is it? Are we? Are they? Examples. Am I on time? So if the affirmative is I am on time. I am on time. The question is, am I on time? Am I on time? Am I on the list? Am I on the list? So I am on the list becomes am I on the list? Where are we? Where are we? It's interesting because when we start a question with the verb to be, the answer will be yes or no. Am I on time? Yes or no? But if I ask the question, where are we? You cannot answer this with yes or no. So where are we? We are at school. Just back to, yes, are they friendly? So they are friendly. Question, are they friendly? He is your brother. He is your brother. Is he your brother? It is time to leave. It is time to leave. Is it time to leave? Is it time to leave? Okay. Now, this is a verb to be. Let's see all the other verbs. With all the other verbs, we need to use do and does. We bring do and does to the beginning of the question. Okay, so that's how we know. Besides the intonation changes too, but we also need to use the auxiliary verb because there is no conjugation. We do not conjugate the other verbs in a way that we can understand. We are talking about the present simple. So, examples. You work in an office. You work in an office. Do you work in an office? So the only thing you need to do here is to add do and does. Okay? Bring it to the beginning of the sentence. Do you work in an office? She works. Now here, she works in a school. She works in a school. Does she work without the S in a school? Does she work in a school? So every time you use an auxiliary verb, do or does, in the present simple, in questions and negatives, that is, the main verb loses the S. Forget about the S, okay? Because the S is present in the word does with the S at the end. So, they live in Paris. They live in Paris, negative. They do not live in Paris. Question, do they live in Paris? You usually finish work at 4 p.m. You usually finish work at 4 p.m. You do not usually finish work at 4 p.m. You do not usually finish work at 4 p.m. Do you usually finish work at 4 p.m.? Do you usually finish work at 4 p.m.? Remember that here, if you start the question with the verb to be, do or does, the answer will be yes or no. So Tom gets up at 6 a.m. Tom gets up at 6 a.m. Negative, Tom does not get up at 6 a.m. Tom does not get up at 6 a.m. Question, does Tom get up, no S, at 6 a.m.? Does Tom get up at 6 a.m.? Now, all these questions have a yes, no answer. But when does the party start? when does the party start? Here you need to give a piece of information. You cannot answer this question with yes or no. Okay? Common mistakes. So that's what I said before. The S, keeping the S in the main verb. So does he finish work on time is correct. Does he finish? No S. Does he finish work on time? Right. But does he finishes work on time? Bad. Very, very bad. Very, very wrong. Does he finishes is wrong. Does he finish? Right. Okay? And we have reached the end of the lesson today. If you guys have any questions, please let me know, and we'll be able to talk about it. Hello, everyone who has remained here until the end. Hello, where are you? Where are you? Yes, I'm here. Hello, Alan. Can wasp. Financial management. You're a financial manager. You're a financial manager. You work with financial management. That's right. Very good for you. What language do you speak? I speak Portuguese, I speak English, I speak Spanish, French, Italian, a little bit of Polish, a little bit of German, and a little bit of other languages. Hello, hello, hello. Let's see. Any questions? No. Can we say, are you in an office? Yes. The preposition thing, right? So if you see the office as a point in an area, you use at. Okay? He's at the office now. He's at the office. He's at a point in space. But if you're talking about an enclosed area, you use in. So it's possible to say you are in an office now. I am in an office now. It's possible to say that. It all depends on what you want to say, okay? But reviewing prepositions is always a good idea. Are you in an office? Yes, we can. Are you in an office? All right. So we'll talk about prepositions soon. The next live will probably be about the present continuous. We'll review that, okay? So thank you for joining the live stream. I hope to see you soon. Take care. Bye.